Yes. Now, very frankly, the today's topic, as it is, it happens to be very close to my heart because, being in the capacity of a life skills coach, I'm somewhere privileged that I work with all ages, starting from 2+ to even like retired professionals of 80+, and somehow I get this like 360-degree preview, right, where I get to, when I'm working with these students, I understand their psyche, in relevance to their own thoughts and opinions, and definitely with respect to what are their expectations from their elders as parents and teachers, and simultaneously teachers, what, how do they look up to, kind of, or maybe what are their challenges when they kind of work with this, specifically this generation zen that we know, right? So kahin na kahin, this generation with which you all happen to be working as teachers, and in fact, I even got to know that yes, majority of you even happen to be newly recruited teachers. So maybe some of you also fall into the same generation, right? With whom you are now in that different space, different, a kind of responsibility, that no more you are on the one who's receiving. Now you're into that giving back front. सो ये जो जनरेशन जेन जो हमारे यंगस्टर्स की जनरेशन है, who happen to be our students of today, right, they have a very different approach of learning, receiving things, their outlook towards the whole concept of education. So I think before we get into depth, like, how we can engage them, how we can kind of make it more exciting or interesting for them to learn, any one of you would like to share your opinions, ki how come this generation zen happens to be different in their whole perception, in their whole um, perspective of receiving things or learning. So any one of you, जो भी आपको लगता है कि yes, अब times have changed accordingly, yes, the needs have changed, so maybe as teachers we also need to change, specifically in relevance to our teaching practices. तो उससे पहले जिनको हम टारगेट कर रहे हैं, जिनके लिए हम तैयारी कर रहे हैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, हमें क्या लगता है कि आज का स्टूडेंट कैसे डिफरेंट है? एनी वन ऑफ यू, कुछ भी आप शेयर करना चाहते हो? You can even use the chat box also, so you can drop your message, matlab, yes, आपके जो भी opinions हैं in the message box, or if you could unmute yourself, I think that would be more one to one kind of an interaction. Any one of you, कुछ भी, I mean, I think ये कोई बहुत ऐसा आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स क्वेश्चन भी नहीं है, ये शायद हम सब का कंसर्न है कि द स्टूडेंट ऑफ टुडे इज different, right? So definitely our approach to kind of engaging them, involving them, and actually, yes, giving them back something.
Ma'am, can I
Yes,
speak?
Please, Hima ma'am,
This is
right?
Dr. Haima. This is
Hi,
Dr. Haima, ma'am.
yeah, where are
I
you
teach
joined us?
pharmacy students, B
Okay,
pharmacy, M pharmacy, and family students.
right ma'am.
I've been teaching since past 18 years.
Oh,
And I
perfect.
have seen a
Right.
drastic change in my students. Pharmacy being a completely, it's not a technical course actually. We
Two.
have more of a lab oriented, practical oriented course. This is.
Okay, right ma'am.
So I have seen students these days, they're not much of a theoretical type. They want practical based, and also they're
True,
not of audio type. They want
true.
video,
Yes,
and that's
actually.
what they
True,
expect.
true,
And the
true.
listening time and the hearing time, the attention time has
Yes,
drastically decreased.
decreased.
We
True.
have a 50 minutes class
Right, ma'am.
every hour,
Right.
and 15 minutes, maximum 15 minutes, ma'am, they
Yes, ma'am.
listen to us.
True,
After
true.
15 minutes, in 20 minutes the friend sitting beside them will disappear. After
Right.
25 minutes I will disappear. So then
Right.
it's
True,
like
true,
they are in
true,
their own
true.
world.
Too, actually. Thank you so much, Dr. Haima. That was very, very honest, very frankly. I mean, majority of us are facing this challenge, but I believe, yes, it gets very difficult to kind of accept this on a public platform, that we are not able to connect with them for that whole duration of, class, which is 45 to 50 minutes. So definitely the needs are different, their way of kind of connecting is different. So accordingly, yes, that drastic change has to be tackled in a more organized way. So that was very, very honest of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Haima. Anybody else would like to add? Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
morning,
please.
ma'am.
Very,
Shobna Gupta this side.
very good morning, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think like the students have lots of knowledge available on internet and other areas. We
So
just
true.
have to like put them on a right direction that which they have,
So, uh, yes, Dr. Shobna, Hanji.
which they have to follow. Sorry, ma'am.
True. Yeah, yeah, I can realize, ma'am. Please, if you could sip in some water. Um, I think till the time Dr. Shobana connects back with us, I could hear a male voice also. So if any of the respective sirs wanted to share something, yes, if any one of you wanted to add something to how come this present generation of students with whom we are more, now dealing with as teachers, how come they are a different league altogether? And then definitely we'll be able to go into the details that how we can make our learning process more interesting or exciting for them. Any one of you?
Sorry, ma'am. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, please, Hanji. Yes, Dr.
so I
Shobana,
was
Hanji.
saying that like the students have lots of knowledge available here and there,
True.
and they are
True.
not. They just want from us as a teacher that they need the practical knowledge for the same. So
Definitely.
they are getting the theoretical part from the internet, from the books, and whatever we are dealing with them. But
True.
they just want ki how we have to apply this knowledge. So this is the main concern which the students are expected from us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
obviously, I think like as I am a teacher of management department,
Right,
so we
ma'am.
have lots of practical. There is no lab, but they want like
Right.
design thinking is there. So projects are needed for this kind that the
True.
practical application can be provided to the same.
True. True.
So this is the major challenge to us that how we can bring the lots of case studies from them for them as well as the live projects are available. So I think this is somewhere we are lacking that we need to improve on that.
Definitely, definitely. Again, very, very, something I would say the reality aspect that you've kind of shared with us, Dr. Shobna, and that can be nowhere denied that the student of today is well informed. In fact, that it's a very, very smart generation. They're much smarter, specifically in terms of knowledge, if I would say. They're much more informed because they have that time also, right?
Yes.
Maybe, yeah, Hanji, as teachers, we are not just into teaching, right? Today academics has become a very, very vast a profession, right? In fact, teaching is just a very limited part of it. I know there are multiple things, so many kind of accreditations and so many other uh, things that we need to line up with. So in that whole process we are always running short of time, but then our students, they are definitely much more informed. They are always kind of equipped with the best of the mediums of information, and all these gadgets and digital connectivity has actually made it much faster and easier for them. So wahi par, yes, when it comes to only theoretical knowledge, they are already kind of overloaded with it.
Yes, ma'am.
There,
Because they
yeah,
have
Hanji.
lots of, they can read from here and there, and they
True.
just want that how we can apply. So
True. True.
they are expecting from us that हर चीज
जी,
उनको apply करके बताया जाए कि
बिल्कुल।
यहाँ पर मैम ये apply कैसे हो सकता है.
जी,
So
जी,
out of the box thinking, like we are thinking, we are enabling
true,
in our new education policy. So
right,
that is much required.
Right, actually, very true. And seriously, I think that's the die-hard need. Ki we should immediately bring about that paradigm shift in our education system, because otherwise we'll not be able to catch the attention of our students, as Dr. Haima has shared.
Yes.
As it is with this so much of, this technical connectivity, digital connectivity, are not only for our students, even for us also, our receptivity levels have really gone down. Right, आज वही बात है कि yes, all of us are into that multitasking process, and majority of the times we are hooked up with different gadgets. So as it is really hampering our brain functioning. तो जिसकी वजह से जहाँ students जिनको अभी as it is they are in those learning stages, तो उनका अगर वो brain functioning कहीं affect हो रहा है, तो it is more damaging, it is more somewhere, it's a matter of concern. So अब कहीं ना कहीं we realize कि thus the whole education system has to be more practical, has to be more engaging, right? It has to come somewhere, find a connection with these real life situations, where this how this knowledge can be applied, and what is the real outcome of it. But I think wo maybe will still take time, because that of course is a more complicated process, right? Jisme it's not just about maybe at the college level or at the university level. It is the whole the education system needs to be shaken up about it. But I think something which, as at individual level, as teachers, we can do, maybe let's start pondering about it. Let's start putting our brains into it, कि as teachers हम personally क्या कर सकते हैं अपने बच्चों का attention um, वो कैप्चर करने के लिए, राइट? एंड कैसे यस हम कहीं ना कहीं इवन इन आर लिमिटेड कैपेसिटी उनको कुछ एक्स्ट्रा कुछ मे बी मोर exciting, या मे बी समथिंग विच डेफिनेटली मेक्स देम फील द नीड टू कम टू अ कॉलेज और अ यूनिवर्सिटी, बिकॉज आज वेरी फ्रैंकली वो नीड भी कहीं नलिफाई हो गई है. हमने कोविड में रियलाइज किया कि yes, education specifically, if it was only imparting of knowledge, it could be well done through online sessions, and yes, sitting in your own comfort zone, जो कि अभी भी we're doing it, right? तो फिर वही चीज है कि अगर उनको वो कॉलेज आना है, तो जिसके लिए दे नीड अ more stronger motivation, a stronger driving force कि मैं क्यों वो effort लगाऊं, right? जबकि information तो सारी मुझे घर बैठे मिल रही है. तो then there has to be something extra reasons which drives them to their educational institute in physical and being in that real classroom. So I would like to share, in fact I would be asking more questions. I think that makes it more interactive, and then definitely we all are able to put our brains together. So as per the present situation that we've just discussed, um, I'll just share. Is my slide visible? Any one of you, if you could just let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Is my
Yes.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am, it
Okay,
is
great.
visible.
Thank you. Thank you. So this definitely, I don't know if many of you've come to this NITTR campus. Of course, that is the common mode through which the common platform through which we all have connected. And this is a picture at the NITTR campus only. So you can see in the building behind there is this it's mentioned also, National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research. But then definitely getting you back to the question that I wanted to put across, that in the present scenario, who would be considered a good teacher? Somebody, you're all technical teachers, right? So we are all more talking about that practical demonstration, definitely the application part. So there, I think giving instructions is very important. So who's a good teacher? A teacher has to be a good instructor, a good facilitator, somebody who definitely facilitates also, helps also, who's kind of a more of a a buddy, who's trying to help out when the student is trying something on their own. तो आप उनको बता रहे हैं कि yes कहाँ पर वो गलती कर रहे हैं, कहाँ पर they need to improvise upon. Or does a teacher needs to be a motivator or an inspirer, who actually kind of inspires them to to somewhere feel connected towards this learning process, and put their own efforts and definitely their own ideologies into it, so as to make it more impactful. Ya fir a teacher needs to be an entertainer. So now that's the question, that who a good teacher has to be in the today's era. Does he or she has to be an instructor or a facilitator, motivator, or an entertainer? So you can choose for any out of these four, or if you have a different answer to it, then also yes, I'll be more than willing to actually listen to you. So I'll stop sharing my slide once again, and I'll come back to the main screen. राइट सो आप अपने रिस्पॉन्सेज चैट बॉक्स में भी डाल सकते हैं, या फिर यू कैन इवन अगेन अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ. सो who is a good teacher of today? He or she is an instructor, a facilitator, a motivator, or an entertainer, or something else. Any one of you?
Ma'am, I just would like to add a point here. A teacher should also be a
Please, please.
demonstrator. For example, if I
Demonstrate.
am teaching my students any experiment in the lab and
True.
they are unable to do or something like that, I should get up from my place, go to the workbench, do it by
True.
myself and show it to them. That
True.
will be more motivating for them to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. Very, very true, ma'am. In fact, when I had written this terminology facilitator, that was actually, both of them working together, the teacher
Yes.
and the
Yes.
student. So it's like they go hand in hand. So
Yes.
usme, yes, somewhere, I had this back of the mind that they have to demonstrate themselves, and then they have to, give it back to their student. Ki now, okay, now you try on. So, okay. So apart from being a demonstrator, anything else that we need to pick up from that slide? An instructor, a demonstrator, a facilitator, and a motivator, and or maybe an entertainer. Yes, any one of you would like to add more to it? I don't know why I'm not able to. Yes, please, Hanchi. Any responses? You can even put your responses in the chat box, or you could even, as Dr. Haima, you could directly share your, opinion about it. I know now this is the the present way of actually taking up online sessions also, where I am very, very sure that right now also majority of you must be just kind of connected, you and then definitely you must be parallel doing something else, because that's how we are able to do more in less time. But then if you've connected, and then definitely if we are really willing up to kind of help out our students, or maybe help out ourselves to be this present, to be the good teachers of this present generation. So thoda sa, yes, I would really request if we could get more involved. Nothing to say? Okay. I don't know, I'm not able to type anything in the chat box. Maybe there's some problem from my end only. So but then going back to the slide, what all had been mentioned there, it was being an instructor, being a facilitator, motivator, and entertainer. तो उसमें से कोई हमें बहुत ही absurd लगा, something which is really weird, कि specifically maybe something like entertainer. Does a teacher of today needs to be an entertainer as well? Any one of you? Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Haima. Right, I know you are connected there with me, and that's always more, very encouraging. देखें, ये हम सबकी reality है, very frankly. So many times we take up these online sessions, and when you don't get a response from the other side, it is so disheartening, right? It mostly seems just that you're just talking to the screen only. So please, yes. Dr. Haima says yes, that a teacher of today even needs to be an entertainer. So yes, Dr. Manoj, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? You've raised your hand. Yeah, Dr. Manoj, I believe you just raised your hand. You wanted to say something?
No, ma'am, please continue.
Acha, okay. Okay, so Dr. Manoj, if you've unmuted yourself, I would just request if you could just, add a little light onto it. My question was that, does a teacher of today needs to be an entertainer as well? क्या जरूरत है एक टीचर को एंटरटेनर
Yes,
भी
ma'am,
होना?
definitely to
Okay.
keep to engage the students because sometimes they feel boring in the class. To make it more attractive, it's
Right.
better to interact with them on general topics also, so that
Yes.
their interest can be recreated.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Dr. Manoj. Right, sometimes, by chance also things work out in the right direction. So, yes, in fact, that's what I think when Dr. Haima was, expressing her concern. Ki these days, the students don't have that attention span, right? It is very difficult to hold them back for a longer duration. जहाँ पे वही बात है, वो बहुत जल्दी बोर होने लगते हैं, बहुत जल्दी डिस्ट्रैक्ट होने लगते हैं, right? So to hold on to their interest levels, a teacher of today has to be an entertainer. But now the concern is कि ये entertainer होना होता है क्या? बहुत correctly, I think, put across by Dr. Manoj, was you have to keep the interaction on, right? And interaction can be technical, has to be technical, but then definitely where I think the technical aspect has to be connected to the real life, right? So jahan par, yes, that kind of an interaction where again the students are able to find that connect, that okay, this technology or maybe this specific application, whatever we are discussing theoretically, where is it and how is it used in the real life. And then simultaneously being open to we first and foremost, yes, accepting that yes, I somewhere run short of maybe the information, or maybe I also have done some sometimes even I've also failed, right? Or maybe sometimes I also do not have the foolproof information. जैसे हमने बात ही किया, जो डॉक्टर शोभना ने भी कहा कि today the students are more informed, राइट? तो ये आज के टीचर को एक्सेप्ट करना भी बहुत जरूरी है क्लासरूम में, कि बहुत सारी बातें, बहुत सारी जो एडवांसमेंट है, राइट, वो कई बार हम भी वी आर नॉट इन्फॉर्म्ड अबाउट इट। और अगर हम उसको एक मतलब एक जेनरस वे में एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं, तो आई बिलीव इट क्रिएट्स दैट लाइटर मोमेंट इन द क्लासरूम। इट गिव्स मोर कॉन्फिडेंस टू द स्टूडेंट कि ओके, like at least I'm having the knowledge, but then how and where this knowledge has to be applied, for that I need to come back to my teacher, right? So जिसमें when a teacher accepts कि मुझे नहीं आता है, या मुझे इसके बारे में पूरी जानकारी नहीं है, I think that's also a lighter moment, a moment for the teacher and the students to at least smile back to each other and accept कि yes, we are all in that learning process. So मुझे लगता है कि सबसे जो बेस्ट वे ऑफ एंटरटेनमेंट इज व्हेन वी कैन actually make our students know that as teachers there are so many things that we are also still unaware of, या हम भी बहुत कुछ हर दिन सीख रहे हैं, right? So entertainment does not mean that we need to crack jokes, or we have to do something which is just not related to what we are. We have to even talk something out of the box also. We have to connect personally to our students, right? And entertainment can be even in the way, yes, where we are actually kind of encouraging, we are actually appreciating, right? In that, yes, the lighter ways of putting across things actually becomes a space where people can smile back at each other. वही सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी entertainment है. Ab, yes, next moving on with my the slides that I had to share. Just a second. Now there are these various ways of teaching, right? And of course, all these different ways of teaching have been changing, have been evolving over the times, right? Of course, we've really kind of discussed that, yes, today we have to have that more practical approach to teaching. Any terminology which you could not connect with, or you could not find the answer to it, ki what does it mean, right? Jesse, the various ways of teaching include lecturing, demonstrating, as what Dr. Haima had mentioned, then something like debriefing, collaborating, and classroom discussion. So any term which was not clear, या जो हमें लगता है कि हम वो अभी भी classroom में apply नहीं कर रहे हैं, any term out of these few that have been mentioned, right? Lecturing, demonstrating, debriefing, collaborating in classroom discussion, आपको जो ऐसा लगता है कि ये way of teaching हम अभी तक apply नहीं कर रहे हैं, या हमें उसका जो process है, या way of delivering है जो teaching में, वो क्या है, we could not understand only. lecturing, demonstrating, debriefing, collaborating, and classroom discussion. Any term which was not clear or which we've heard it for the first time? Okay, so is it that we are all familiar with all the terms from before? There was a term in the different types of teaching practices which is known as debriefing. How many of us we really know what is debriefing? Yes, any one of us. Okay, yes, Shiny ma'am, very good morning. Yeah, ma'am, you've raised your hand. You can please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning, ma'am. Yeah. So, ma'am, you wanted to share with us what is debriefing?
No, ma'am. Just I want to hear from you.
Oh, okay, great. So that, oh, thank you. So that means somewhere, yes, this concept, this terminology sounds to be new, right? So as the term goes, debriefing, right? So brief is always something which is concise, which is summarized, right? As we say, let's wrap it up in brief, or let's put things in brief, where we're trying to summarize the things, we're trying to keep it short. So debriefing is just the opposite of it, where we are trying to now open up the things, we're trying to go into the details or the intricacies of the concept. अब debriefing किसको करना है, दैट्स द कंसर्न, राइट? जहां पे हम उस कॉन्सेप्ट को पूरी तरह से डिटेल्स में जा रहे हैं, पूरा उसका जो इनर इन डेप्थ उसकी जो जस्टिफिकेशंस हैं या जो पूरा एक्सप्लेनेशन है, दैट हैज टू बी नाउ गिवन. सो हु वुड डू दैट, the teacher or the student? What seems to be appropriate? Who will do the debriefing, explanation of the whole concept? Yeah, Alpana ma'am, you wanted to say something?
Yes,
Yeah, please ma'am. Hanji.
briefing so that teacher come to know that he or she has.
Yeah, sorry Alpana ma'am, आपका voice थोड़ा सा break हो रहा है. Yes ma'am, can you try once again? आपका what you just said was not clear. I think there's a connectivity issue.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
yes ma'am. Hanji ji. Alpna ma'am, can you try once again, please? Or maybe you can again use the chat box. I don't know. I am not able to.
Okay. Ma'am, chat is disabled right now.
हाँ, that's what I was wondering. मुझे लगा मेरे end पे problem है. Yes, बताइए Alpna ma'am.
It is, yes, we cannot write. Ma'am, student can do the debriefing so that teacher come to know that he has understood the lecture.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Alpna ma'am. Yes, in fact, that's how now we are trying to reduce the load of the teachers in a way, right? Where the teacher has to just give the, outline of the concept, or maybe just the brief of the concept, and this has to be given back to the students, that now you go at your end and do the preparation, get to understand the concept, find its whole explanation, the whole in-depth concept, and then come back with the whole process to be explained at a length, right? So इससे सबसे ज्यादा एक तो टीचर को में समझ आता है कि yes, the student has been able to connect with the details of whatever the technical information, or whatever the detailed information that was to be given, right? और दूसरा, कहीं ना कहीं student also feels more confident, more responsible about it, right? When it's like kind of a task or an assignment given to him or her, yes, now you have to come back and explain this whole concept. So this is something which is more interesting, something which is more engaging, and then definitely keeps the students more connected to the the whole learning process. So it's a new concept, and I think this works somewhere. Debriefing, collaborating is another very good way of actually making students get into the learning process, brainstorming, and yes, reaching out to a common consensus. So usme wahi cheez hai ki yes, collaboration of efforts, collaboration of ideas, collaboration of new ideologies, right? So वही चीज है कि yes, जहाँ पर भी students, in fact now that's I think what is I wanted to share through a slide also, a classroom should not be just the responsibility of the teacher, right? Definitely, maybe when we were students, that is how the way the things were, but today now it is like that. Yes, a classroom should be a conglomeration of great minds at work. Now this sounds to be a little heavy statement, but very frankly, that is how it is. Conglomeration is where it is like, uh, things are not of equal size, right, or not equal at an equal frequency also. There are a lot of variations, but we still get them together, right? So people thinking from their different perspectives, from their different point of view, लेकिन हम वो सारे differences को फिर इकट्ठे एक common objective की तरफ जब connect करते हैं, that's a conglomeration. So वही बात है कि if a classroom consists of whatever 50, 60, 70 students and one teacher, then it should be that at least, if not all 70 of them, but at least yes, 50% of them should be all thinking on that common objective, on that common concern, with their own individual point of view, right? So this is how we make more knowledge, we create more knowledge, we expand knowledge, and we actually, yes, then start thinking on the lines that okay, now that was the different way, or a different way of looking at things, and then I'm able to take it back maybe somewhere to my real experiences also. Now, okay, sorry, I'll come back to the slide after this. Now, this will be a little volunteering, right? I will be sharing a slide, right? And there's a task on that slide. In fact, now we also get involved into some, some practical experience. So on this slide, there'll be a task to be performed, right? So where it is like, okay, I'll go to the next slide, where it is there are some words written in fact there are some colors written in different colors, right? And you need to read the color in which that color is written and not the word. Like the first color is yellow but which is written in green, so you need to read it out as green. I hope it is understood. The first color, which is yellow, which is written in green, we have to read it out as green. The next color from top to bottom under yellow is black, but the black color is written in pink, so we need to read it out in pink. So any one of you who would like to take this, task, right, online, we can do it online, right? So आपको कलर, जिस कलर में वो कलर लिखा गया है, वो कलर फॉन्ट कलर पढ़ना है आपको, वो कलर के स्पेलिंग्स नहीं पढ़ने हैं. So anybody would like to take a try? Anyone? In fact, I'll just stop sharing and I'll come back, because hota ye hai ki when I start sharing my slide, I'm not able to see. So I think somebody wants to give it a try. Riddhi ma'am, you would like to give it a try?
Yes, ma'am,
Oh,
definitely.
great. So I'll open up the slide, ma'am. So now, ma'am, you'll read it from top to bottom or left to right?
Ma'am, from the top, from left to right.
From the top and then left to right. Okay. So all of us now, we have to have our eyes and ears onto the slide, because Riddhi ma'am will be reading the slide for us, where it is like some colors are written in different fonts, right? So we have to now find ki, yes, is she reading it correctly, because she has to read the font color and not the spellings of the color. So Riddhi ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
I'm just starting now.
yeah, please, Hanji.
Okay. Green, red, blue, pink, blue, black, red, blue, green, black, red, pink, green, blue, black, blue, red, green.
Wonderful, wonderful. That I must say, I must congratulate, ma'am. That was very efficient, right? Very wonderful. Anybody else would like to give it a try? Or maybe, anybody who wants to give it a challenge to Riddhi, ma'am, that I can read it faster? Anyone else wants to give it a try? You can just unmute yourself and you can start. Anybody there? You need to just read the font color and not the, the color spellings. No? Oh, okay. I'll come back. I'll come back to the main screen. Wonderful, Rudy ma'am. Well, very well tried. And the best part is that there is no competition to you, right? So, okay, now I would like to
Thank
just,
you, ma'am.
yeah, know about your experience. How was it? Kaisa tha, doing this exercise?
Ma'am, it was revisiting my, younger days because we have played that games when we are going to the birthday parties and everything. So it was a
Okay.
recall of it. And this
Okay.
as also I have done the experiment in one of the classroom with BTech students. I
Right.
used to teach them applied psychology. So it
Right.
was a fun element that I have used 5 years back. So it's a
Right.
revisiting the new strategy again.
True, right. So, oh wow, so you're already into it, and you already have the kind of the feel and the experience of it. So, any hitch, any sort of kind of a complication when you were reading the font color, but not the spellings of the color?
Yes, ma'am. There's a urge that you read what is it is written, and you
Yes.
ignore. You tend to ignore the color, and
True.
with the flow, with the next last two lines, I had the urge to speak the letter, not
Yes.
the color.
Yes, exactly. Very, very. I mean, again, very generous of you, very honest of you, ma'am. That there's an urge, right? There's this urge, or there is this tendency, or that habit, of how we receive the information. I think now, again, going back to our, learning process, and from the very start, as Riddhi ma'am said, that it is during the childhood days, from the very start, majority of the times we receive information through reading, right? And that's how we've kind of we have grown up, or we've been receiving information. But now, going back to what I think Dr. Haima had quoted initially, that these days, this present generation, they don't want to first of all read through, right? They want something which is pictorial, which they can visualize, right? Which they can they can have a picture of it, they can have something which captures their eyes, right? It is less of that brain involvement. And then beyond that, not just pictures, now is the time for more animation, something which is moving, right? So which actually then it has to connect the dots, that yes, something which is moving, something which is in that what do you say, it is not static, right? So there you have to find that that whole connectivity, right? That how the information is traveling from one point to the other, and then you're more interested, or you're more excited about it. So I think first and foremost, as teachers, we also have to develop ourselves, that how do we receive our information, because today the present era is more about pictures and animations. So when it is what about reading the color, so it was a picture, right? Now again, the same slide which I had just presented to you all, and Riddhi ma'am read it for us. Think about it, if all these font, the colors were written in Chinese, right? If the yes means the what do you say, the no, that's the what is, I'm forgetting, in the the written part of it, right? If it hadn't been English language, but it had been written in Chinese, right? So then still we would have been having this urge, Riddhi ma'am, to read the color name and not see the font color.
Ma'am, definitely no, because I don't know Chinese language.
Exactly, true. So now this, yes, this generation actually does not read through. Majority of the times they are just gathering information through pictures, that's why these days these different social media platforms have become so popular. And very frankly, reading and writing as a skill, as a capability, is gradually becoming obsolete. I'm not telling that we don't need to develop this skill, or we don't need to take care that yes, our students are still on their reading and writing process, but then that's a faster way of receiving information, right? And this is how our present generation actually they connect to the information. I mean, every time, in fact, sometimes we feel कि yes, we have to present long notes and long, in fact, जहां पे भी बहुत ज्यादा लिखा होता है, बहुत excess information होती है in written form, the minds of this present generation, they get closed, right? So they are more now, in fact it's like, going back to those basics jahan par hum logon ne apne childhood mein ya in our initial years of learning, we also used to learn through those pictures and big fonts, big letters, and less of those, information. In fact, start mein, it's this is something how this child psychology also works in the initial years of brain, because शायद अब हमें अपने students का brain development पे भी काम करना है. So in the initial years of brain development, जब बच्चों को reading के लिए yes कहीं ना कहीं emphasize किया जाता है, तो it is always the books are designed in a way where there is a lot of space in the the sentences, so that the student feels more somewhere yes these they feel more convenient. They feel ki, okay, they're not kind of scared, okay, this is so much of content and how would I read through it. So this is somewhere kind of boosting their confidence level कि कम पढ़ना है, सिर्फ पिक्चर से ही आपको information gather करना है. So even in that also they are using their brains, but then there's back of this subconscious mind going on कि this is more simplified, this is an easier process, it's not as complicated as it seems to be. Okay, so this was one of the way, where through pictures and through animations we can put across the information. But there's another very kind of what do you say unaware reality about most of us, that how as an individual do we receive information. हम सब का जो अपना brain development है, या how we are receiving information as an individual is different. There's nothing which comes in common. I have a different way of receiving information, and Dr. Haima or maybe Riddhi ma'am has a different way of um, capturing the whatever is written, or getting the idea. So now I'll be sharing another slide, and I'll request all of you to yes, please be true to yourself, because on that slide, immediately after I put that slide, there'll be two pictures popping up, left and right. Right? So whichever picture first catches your attention, you need to just let me know कि आपको पहले left side of the slide दिखाई दिया या पहले right side of the slide दिखाई दिया. So please, let's be all set or glued to our screen as I present the next slide. Why am I not able to share now? What happened? Okay, yeah. So yes, I am here with the slide, and there are these two pictures on the slide, left and right. You just need to tell me which side of the slide could gather your attention first, could catch your attention first. The left side or the right hand side? Yes, any one of you can please unmute yourself.
Right
Side. So right side means, ma'am, the image cat, right? Yes,
Yes.
the image cat. Thank you so much, ma'am. And anyone else who could, who feels now, no, I first saw the written cat.
Ma'am, from our remote center, Manjula University, the majority have gone for the left side, the cat written,
Okay.
and some are both.
Okay, some are both. Okay, and less of them or none of them for the image cat.
Ma'am, only one.
Only one. Okay, great. So now this is how like each one of us individually, independently, we have our different ways of receiving information, but then that's basically how our brains are aligned, or what is the the brain activation in our individual yes minds there. Now basically, when all those who were first attracted to the written cat, their left side of the brain is more activated or more effectively functional, and those who could connect with the image cat, their right side of the brain is more actively functional, right? So this is that difference of that left and right hemisphere of the brain, which actually varies from individual to individual, that how we are receiving, or maybe how we are giving back information also. So that's it varies. Very frankly, this is how our brain is segregated into the left and right of the hemisphere, right? So left side of the brain is the more critical part of the brain, which actually connects to information which is already present there, right, which is already kind of organized in form of words, numbers, lists, logics, analysis, right? So information which is real time present there. You're not talking about anything which is just a fiction or something imaginary. Whereas the right side of the brain is something which creates information, right? Where, as I said, left side of the brain was already it connects to the information which is already available, and it would definitely kind of get more deeper into it in form of logics or doing a an in-depth analysis of it. While the right side of the brain is the creative side of the brain. So people having their more right side of the brain actively functional, they're more kind of creative people, and they would create information in form of rhythm, in form of colors, in form of, like, they're more imaginary people, or maybe even known as daydreamers as well, right? Making it more clear, again, this is that left and right side of the brain functioning. So left hand side of the brain, people who have their left hand side of the brain more actively functional, right, they are more kind of aligned with their logical and reasoning skills, and somehow they yes, they are more scientific, or they're more critical in their approach. Whereas the people having their right side of the brain more actively functional, they're more creative, right, they're more imaginary, and they would even create information from where there is no information available, right? So in fact they are the people who would, like, have their own never ending thoughts, or maybe somewhere who would kind of uh, who would believe in, yes, visualizing the things more, rather than, yes, maybe just being fixed to the information which is being shown to them. So they have a more broader visualization. So that's the creative approach to it. So now that's how each one of us, we have our difference in our way we process information, and this same goes back to our students also, right? Some would be more creative, some would be more kind of imaginary, while on the other side some would be more critical, or maybe they would be more uh, kind of logical, and they would not be satisfied with something which is just an imagination, or just that does not have complete facts and figures about it. अब वहीं पर, in fact, this is again a very very important and crucial concept of psychology, which says that each one of us is intelligent, right? There's nothing like that, if this student does not kind of connect with my way of teaching, that means that this student is not smart, or he is not intelligent, right? It's basically, as teachers, we need to equip ourselves with the kind of natural intelligence that our student has, right? और मे बी एज आई सेड, हम सबका भी एक जो हम किस तरह से इंफॉर्मेशन रिसीव करते हैं, कैसे उसको प्रोसेस करते हैं, that varies according to which side of our brain is more functional, and then primarily based upon our natural intelligence. So broadly, there are these 8 different types of multiple intelligence, right, which is natural to each individual. Every student is not made for a classroom. Every student is not very frankly kind of restricted to indoors. Now there are people who would not kind of have their brains activated when they are put into an indoor environment with doors and windows locked up. They would always feel, yes, when they're outside in the midst of the nature, maybe jahan pe koi facility nahi hai, koi lavish us tarah ka setup nahi hai, but in basic outdoor environment in the midst of nature, they would definitely feel more energized. They would feel their brains much more strongly activated. So such people are known as nature smart, right? वहीं पर some people they would not be able to connect with people around, right? वो हमेशा जब पढ़ते भी हैं तो they would prefer to do self study, right? The more they are surrounded by bigger group of people, they would feel more lost, or they would not be able to kind of connect with the concept of, you know, what is being taught. So wahin par, but they would have their own way of, you know, receiving information, that they would have their own way of, you know, self expression. Such individuals are known as self smart, right? Wahin par there are people who are number smart, right? Or there are you know, some individuals who are word smart. So anybody whom we say that he or she is number smart, who would that person be? Or maybe what kind of subjects they would be able to perform better? A number smart individual, what kind of subjects they would be able to perform better? Yes, Alpana ma'am.
Mathematics.
Pardon. Mathematics, very true, ma'am. Mathematics, your, you know, I think subjects of accounting, finance, right? Wherever these numbers are involved. Hanji Riddhi, ma'am.
Ma'am, data analyst, which is
Data analyst.
currently.
Yes, actually, very true, right? Then how about a person who's word smart, right? Who's good with the words, right? What kind of subjects they'll be able to perform better? What kind of, yes, subjects they'll be perform better, or they'll have a, you know, stronger inclination? Yes, Alpana ma'am.
English and communication.
English, communication, very true. It can be any language, it can be English, Hindi, Punjabi, right? And then they would
Yes.
yes,
Poem.
Hanji. And when we say communication, it's not that they just communicate orally, they can be very good in their writing skills also, right? Because they are definitely who connect better to the word aspect, right? So they actually gamble around with words, right? Where they'll be good orators, or maybe they can be good, you know, writers, right? And they would somewhere have a connect to even getting information through reading, right? Coming back to how do they get their information, in fact, now a person who is picture smart, how would they be you know, receiving their information more often? A picture smart person, yeah.
Ma'am, thinking
Yes,
on animation.
yes, exactly, ma'am. Through pictures and animations, right? अब उसको तो बड़ा बड़ा, you know, content या heavy books, you know, वो तो समझ ही नहीं आती हैं. For that person, if you just have some pictorial presentation, or some, you know, I mean, a kind of a video, mm, what do you say, a visual video concept, right? Around some technical information that has to be passed on, this person would definitely be able to, you know, gather information much faster, and actually, yes, you know, have that some real learning, some real takeaway, right? Then there are some people smart individuals. How do they gather their information? People smart.
Ma'am, one of our faculty has said, Dr. Savita, ma'am, debate or dialogue.
Yes, exactly, ma'am. Debate or dialogue, right? Group discussions, collaboration, right? Group tasks, wherever they are surrounded by people, they'll be able to imbibe and receive information much faster, राइट वहीं पर एक सेल्फ स्मार्ट इंडिविजुअल के लिए वो बिल्कुल डिफरेंट सिनेरियो होता है उनके लिए इफ यू पुट देम इनटू अ ग्रुप सिचुएशन इवन इफ दे हैव समथिंग टू शेयर और समथिंग यू नो yes which they think from a different point of view they would not be able to express themselves so now the concern is ki yes this is too much this is you know this is like now I think maybe I'm adding to the complication कि अभी तो वही था कि हमें सिर्फ एक दो चीजें इन कॉमन समझ आ रहा था कि our students today have a more practical approach to learning or their receptivity levels have gone down and वहीं पर now I'm saying that we need to cater to their individual intelligence or their individual ways of receiving information तो ये तो शायद complication और बढ़ गया नहीं इसमें ऐसा है कि yes we have to now make our teaching a more you know kind of as we do multitasking it has to be multivariant teaching approach right? Where we have to have more, mix and blend of different teaching practices, so that we are able to cater to people with different, um, um, uh, different types of intelligences, so that yes, anybody who's a, a picture smart person, or anybody who's a, a nature smart person, or a people smart person, they all feel that yes, now this is the time where I feel activated, or maybe my ideas have started flowing in. So how do we do this now is like something which I would like to share. So 3 H's to creative intelligence. अभी जो हम बात कर रहे थे, that was natural intelligence. Anybody can be, number smart, music smart. Now that's something very interesting, right? आज अगर हम देखें तो बहुत सारे हमारी जो young generation है, they are all the time with their earpods on, right? And even when they're studying also, they would have it specifically, our kids at home, and we would keep wondering कि ये पढ़ कैसे सकते हैं जब इन्होंने music, they are hooked up to the music. But very frankly, the concern is that they are a music smart, generation, or they are those music smart individuals, जहां पर maybe उनको heavy concepts तब ज़्यादा easily वो connect हो पाते हैं, where there is rhythm, where there is, there is some music, there is some flow of the, those musical notes happening, which actually makes them feel better, and their brains get activated, and then they are able to receive information much faster. Now let's move on to something which is creative intelligence, right? Heading from the natural intelligence to creative intelligence, which actually says that you need to involve these all 3 H's, right? When we were talking about the demonstration part, we were concerned about the hands, that is the application of the knowledge, right? कि आज अगर हमारे पास information है, हमें बहुत knowledge मिल रहा है हर तरफ से, तो उसका application कैसे होगा? That is when it comes to our hands level, where we start experimenting, and then we get into the process of inventing or innovating something new. But before that, it has to strike our head, right? Where it is like, yes, we are enforced to think. I think now this is something, the first and foremost responsibility of a teacher, that you have to put your student more often into such situations where they're themselves, they are thinking. Because if they are not in that thinking mode, then as it is, yes, they'll be mostly, yes, their brains will be inactivated, and gradually they'll lose interest, and they'll totally get disconnected. And I think now, which is very very important, is enhancing the retention power of our students, and maybe for ourselves also, because the more we are a technologically dependent generation, we all also have gradually become a very very strong technologically dependent population. So वहीं पर हमारी retention powers जो हैं, वो gradually बहुत slow down होती जा रही हैं, जिसको अब बहुत जरूरी हो गया है कि हम उसको enhance करें, या उसको or ज़्यादा, we have different techniques or methods to improve our retention power, and then definitely giving it back to our students. And then I'll be discussing this, in fact, now the retention power aspect also. But before that, in fact, there's a very beautiful saying which says that unless your heart is not happy, your brain does not gets activated, right? So it's now making hearts happy, making hearts feel good, making hearts feel, you know, kind of, yes, finding a place for themselves where they are accepted, where they are respected, or where they feel this is my space, my classroom, my teacher, my ideas, my way of putting things are kind of respected, then definitely their heads, their brains would get functional, right? So I think, and this is the prime reason for which a student would come to an offline classroom, where they feel good being in that classroom. So I think this is something which we really really need to work upon as teachers, because very frankly, as it is this generation Zen, which is not just a technologically dependent generation, but they are even kind of themselves feeling that theirs is an anti-social generation. I said something very heavy, something very, maybe derogatory also, that this present generation of our students, they are not just an technologically dependent generation, but theirs is a even an anti-social generation. Do we believe in it? क्या हम इस बात को मानते हैं कि हमारे जो आज के स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो सोशलाइज करना पसंद नहीं करते हैं, जिसमें इवन इंटरैक्टिंग विद द टीचर इज आल्सो अ सोशलाइजिंग प्रोसेस? Do we believe in it, or maybe I'm just saying something very absurd?
Yes, ma'am. They connect with technologies better rather than
Yes, ma'am.
connecting with the student teacher. They are individually involved here,
True, true.
and
Very true,
sometimes they are
Alpana
getting
ma'am.
information also. But yes,
जी जी, एक्चुअली राइट.
so
सो अब आप
that's
वही कह रही हैं कि
great
वो,
talk
जी
to the students.
हाँ जी अल्पना मैम.
Uh, I'll-
सॉरी, आपका लास्ट का मैम आई कुड नॉट कनेक्ट विद
okay. No.
यू. Okay, but then in brief, in crux, I could understand ki the students of today, they are more connected to the technology, and that's why they don't even feel connected even with their own, friends also these days. Like relations like friendship, even, love entanglements, they're more entanglements only. They're very, very short stayed, right? Because वही बात है कि those very important social skills of commitment, dedication, collaboration, coordination, they are absolutely getting
Hello, Manjula ma'am. Hello, Manjula ma'am. Participants?
Ma'am,
Yes, I think ma'am was not
yeah.
audible.
yes, ma'am.
हाँ जी
Ma'am is
मैम.
if
Yeah मैम. Yeah, audible now? जी.
Yes, yes,
Am I
ma'am.
audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
G
ma'am.
Manjula
Yeah,
ma'am,
yeah, I
audible.
just, जी. Thank you so much. Thank you. I just lost my connectivity. So, okay. Yes, we were, I mean, that's the disconnect, right? That basically वही बात है कि these digital connects, you cannot always rely on them as much as these interpersonal connects, right? Which actually make a difference. And as social beings, we always need them through whatever era we are moving on. In fact, I really work with a lot of young people, and matlab, in the sense, it's not just limited to one institute. I keep moving around, so I really feel ki these days these youngsters, majority of complain of, like, um where they feel that yes, nobody respects their feelings, or maybe they're not even be able to share their feelings, or somewhere they feel completely left out, right? जो कि खुद उनकी अपनी पर्सनल इनहिबिशंस हैं, अपनी पर्सनल इनसिक्योरिटीज हैं, जिसकी वजह से वो अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पाते हैं. एंड उसी उसमें यस, कहीं जो उनका जो सोशलाइजिंग एस्पेक्ट है वो बहुत लिमिट होता चला जा रहा है. सो आई बिलीव आज जो एक बहुत बड़ा रीजन बनता है एक स्टूडेंट को अट्रैक्ट करने का टुवर्ड्स a physical classroom, right? Because right now also whatever we're doing is, it's a kind of a an online classroom that we've created. है कि उसमें वो जो एक आज भी whatever generation, whatever era we come from, we still want people to be yes, close to us, people to know us in person, people with whom we can share our emotions, our feelings, or maybe anything which is troubling me deep within, I'm able to open out or express it completely, right? So I believe teachers now have to share this responsibility of being elderly buddies to them, right? With whom they can actually share that association of openness, and simultaneously they can seek that guidance and mentorship also. uh, In fact, a lot of young people have even started saying that they need actual, these elderly buddies, because बहुत सारी चीजें जहाँ पे life में they feel lost, they feel yes they are not able to cope up, they need somebody to speak to them, they need somebody to guide them. लेकिन बात ये है कि अपनी खुद की insecurities और inhibitions की वजह से वो help भी नहीं मांग पाते हैं. तो आज as elders, I mean, I'm not now just using the term teachers, I'm saying as elders, as well wishers, as mentors, we have to reach out to them, because आज का जो स्टूडेंट है उसमें उतना करेज भी नहीं है कि वो आकर हेल्प मांग सके. ये एक बहुत बड़ा एक स्ट्रॉन्ग आज का एक लिमिटिंग फैक्टर बन गया है, जिसको पता नहीं हम कितना रियलाइज कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. बट जस्ट बिकॉज आवर present generation of students have become so weak in their socializing skills, ये इसकी शुरुआत क्लासरूम में या कोविड टाइम से नहीं हुई है. अगर हम इसको देखें, दिस इज लाइक नाउ द काइंड ऑफ ट्रेंड्स दैट हैव सेट इनटू द फैमिली एनवायरनमेंट. These days they are not just those nuclear families, there are these sub nuclear families. Now when I say sub nuclear families, it's like father is working at one location, mother is at other location, and the child maybe is like staying with a single parent, or maybe they are in some boarding school, and then there are hardly any siblings also, right? Majority of the families have just maybe one or two kids, right? Single child syndrome. Now these are things which are more deep rooted, right? ये ऐसा नहीं है कि आज की शुरुआत है. हम जिस जनरेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, जो स्टूडेंट हमारे पास पढ़ने आ रहा है, जो अपने 17, 18 या 19 साल की एज में है, राइट, उससे पहले उनका बचपन, उनका फैमिली एनवायरनमेंट, उनका अपब्रिंगिंग कैसा रहा, राइट? सो अब ये जो लास्ट एक डेकेड से जिस तरह का एक ट्रेंड सेट हो गया है, दो सब न्यूक्लियर फैमिलीज का, जिसके चलते जब हमने फैमिली में ही सोशलाइज नहीं किया, तो हमारे लिए बाहर की एनवायरनमेंट में तो सोशलाइज करना और भी ज्यादा मुश्किल हो जाता है. एंड एडिंग मोर टू इट, एडिंग मोर that complication to it has been those COVID times. जब एक वैसे ही पहले अगर हम देखें, वन मेजर प्लेटफॉर्म टू सोशलाइज वाज अ स्कूल और अ कॉलेज, लेकिन वही बात है, कोविड टाइम्स ने वो भी लिमिट कर दिया. तो हम सबको, स्पेसिफिकली हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को, एक कंफर्ट जोन मिल गया, वेयर अभी अगर हम भी देखें तो हम सब जहां अपने जो भी अपने इंडिविजुअल प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्क से कनेक्ट हुए हैं, समवेयर वी आर ऑल कनेक्टेड इन आवर कंफर्ट जोन, right? So we never had to travel, we never had to come to a new place, a new facility. So hum sab apne comfort zone se operate kar rahe hain. That's what keeps us more kind of driven also. It makes us feel yes, ki yes, okay, this is not that complicated. And think of it, our students who've not seen any hardships, only one or two child in the family, parents want to give back their best, right? They in fact, even before a child demands, they're already served with it. So kahan se unke andar wo commitment aayega ki yes, I also have to somewhere maybe connect to my teacher, show that respect, show that courtesy. I'm really glad what Dr. Haima shared in the start, ki that's the reality. Student walks into the class and maybe they are just there with their friends only for some time, and if they feel ki yes, they are not finding it interesting, they would walk away also. Those times have changed when students would show that at least that basic courtesy ki agar teacher hai wahan pe class mein, to how can I leave the class, right? So up, very frankly, now the more responsibility is on us as teachers, where we have to show that respect first to them, and then only maybe we'll get something back in return. I know it's more complicating, it's something more challenging, but if we really want to, bring about some change in the life of our students, we'll have to connect to them more personally. Then only they'll be more interested to come to those physical classrooms and actually get something out of us. Because आज का student तो as it is बहुत ज़्यादा, हमसे भी कई ज़्यादा well informed है, right? हमसे भी कई ज़्यादा smart है, right? हमसे कई ज्यादा एडवांस्ड है. तो अगर हम आज की डेट में भी वी स्टिल वांट टू प्रूव आवरसेल्व्स और जस्टिफाई आवरसेल्व्स बीइंग देयर टीचर्स, वी हैव टू समवेयर help them find a connect with us, help them, yes, where they feel ki, yes, we're not just responsible for their academics, but we are there, as mentors, as guardians, to even guide them through those real hiccups or real hardships of life. Most of them, majority of the times, they are heartbroken. So until unless we're not mending their hearts, we'll not be able to connect to their heads and not able to make them anything work practically, or yes, be able to invent or apply that information. So we start from the heart, we move on to the head, and then gradually we come down to the application part where they're able to do something with their hands. That's how we enhance the creative intelligence. Manisha ma'am, you connected with us there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay ma'am, there's a video link that I'd shared. Can you please play that video for us?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
I'll do.
thank you so much. Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
माँ सुना मुझे वो कहानी जिसमें राजा न हो न हो रानी। वो कहानी जो हंसना सिखा दे, पेट की भूख को जो भुला दे, जिसमें सच की भरी चांदनी हो, जिसमें उम्मीद की रोशनी हो, जिसमें ना हो कहानी पुरानी। माँ सुनाओ मुझे वो कहानी जिसमें राजा न हो न हो रानी।
बचपन में बहुत सी ऐसी कहानियां सुनी है ना हमने, जिन्हें सुनकर लगता था कि क्या ये वाकई मुमकिन है? क्या वाकई कोई मसीहा है जो हमारे हर ख्वाब को पूरा कर सकता है? क्या वाकई सपने सच होते हैं? जैसे जैसे हम बड़े होते गए, हमने कहानियां सुननी छोड़ दी। सपनों पर से हमारा भरोसा उठता चला गया। हम ख्वाब बुनना भी भूल गए। लेकिन आज जिंदगी लाइव में हम आपको कुछ कहानियां सुनाएंगे। वो कहानियां जिन्हें सुनकर आज भी आपको लगेगा कि ये तो नामुमकिन है, जिन्हें सुनकर लगेगा कि सपने सच हो सकते हैं, जिन्हें सुनकर आपको यकीन हो जाएगा कि अगर ख्वाहिश में दम हो तो कोई मसीहा भी जरूर मिलेगा। आज हम आपकी मुलाकात करवाएंगे एक ऐसे इंसान से जो साल दर साल बेहद गरीब बच्चों के लिए एक मसीहा बनता है और उनके एक नामुमकिन सपने को पूरा करता है। देश के सबसे बड़े टेक्निकल इंस्टीट्यूट IIT में पढ़ने का सपना।
यानी 19C2 यानी फैक्टोरियल 19
इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी यानी IIT देश ही नहीं बल्कि दुनिया के सबसे बेहतरीन इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस में शुमार। हर साल लाखों स्टूडेंट्स IIT में दाखिला लेने के लिए अपनी किस्मत आजमाते हैं। बड़े बड़े कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट से तैयारी करते हैं, बेइंतहा पैसा खर्च करते हैं सिर्फ इसलिए कि उन्हें किसी तरह IIT में दाखिला मिल जाए। लेकिन इन लाखों लोगों में 30 ऐसे भी होते हैं जिनके पास ना तो बड़े बड़े कोचिंग सेंटर्स में पढ़ पाने का पैसा होता है, ना ही महंगी महंगी किताबें खरीद पाने का। ना तो वो महंगे बड़े स्कूलों में पढ़े होते हैं, ना ही उनके पास होती हैं पढ़ाई की सुविधाएं। लेकिन उनके पास कुछ ऐसा खास होता है जो देता है उन्हें कामयाबी की गारंटी। वो इंसान जो उनकी तमाम कमियों को बनाता है उनकी ताकत और बदल देता है उनकी जिंदगी, जो दिखाता है उन्हें फर्श से अर्श तक पहुंचने का रास्ता। और वो इंसान है सुपर 30 के सुपर गुरु आनंद। आनंद, क्या है सुपर 30, ये समझाइए हमको।
सुपर 30 की शुरुआत हम लोग अपने स्ट्रगल के टाइम को देखते हुए हमने की थी। एक जमाना था जब मेरा सिलेक्शन कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी में हुआ था, पैसा नहीं था, पिताजी गुजर गए, मैं कैम्ब्रिज नहीं जा सका था। कोई समाज से कहीं से कोई मदद नहीं मिली। हमेशा मैं गरीबी का दर्द को महसूस करता था। तो हमारे दिमाग में ख्याल आया कि एक ऐसा प्रोग्राम चलाया जाए जिसमें जो बच्चे अपने से रह के खा के नहीं पढ़ सकते, उन्हें खाना भोजन के साथ साथ पढ़ाई भी निःशुल्क कराई जाए। तो यही सोच सुपर 30 की शुरुआत बनी।
कितने स्टूडेंट्स को आप हर साल पढ़ाते हैं?
हर साल हम लोग 30 बच्चों को सिलेक्ट करते हैं और उन्हीं को एक साल ट्रेंड करते हैं।
लेकिन ऐसी क्या जादू की छड़ी है आपके पास, या ऐसी क्या घुट्टी आप उन बच्चों को पिलाते हैं जो सबके सब सिलेक्ट हो जाते हैं?
हमसे ज्यादा तो इन बच्चों का तारीफ करने लायक है कि ये लोग 14 से 16 घंटे पढ़ते हैं, दिन दुनिया भुला देते हैं, पर्व त्योहार तक छोड़ देते हैं। तो यही बात है, मेहनत इन लोगों की है कि सफलता तक बच्चे पहुंचते हैं। मैं अपने कहानी के दरमियान पूरे सिलेबस को, पूरे कोर्स को मैं पढ़ाता हूँ, जिसमें 2 कैरेक्टर मैंने बनाया है, एक भोलू का और एक रिक्की का। रिक्की है जो एक अमीर घर के बच्चे को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, और एक भोलू है जो साधारण ड्रेस में रहता है। लेकिन रिक्की भी पढ़ने में अच्छा है, उसके सोचने का तरीका काफी ट्रेडिशनल है, जो आम मार्केट में वो सब सॉल्यूशन उपलब्ध है। तो सबसे पहले एक सॉल्यूशन आता है जो रिक्की बना के दिखाता है, वो एक साधारण सॉल्यूशन होता है। लेकिन भोलू जब प्रोजेक्टर पर आता है तो कई तरह का सॉल्यूशन देता है, प्रॉब्लम्स को एक्सप्लोर करता है। यही सब कारण है कि बच्चों को मैथमेटिक्स में इंटरेस्ट आता है, सब्जेक्ट का ज्ञान बढ़ता है, और साथ साथ कहीं ना कहीं इन बच्चों के माइंड में ये बात बैठता है कि अमीर बच्चा जो कि लाखों रुपया दे के पढ़ रहा है वो हीरो नहीं है, बल्कि हीरो मेरा दोस्त भोलू है, तो हम भी हीरो बन सकते हैं।
तो मतलब जो बात मुझे समझ में आ रही है वो ये कि सबसे पहले आप उन बच्चों में आत्मविश्वास भरते हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस उन्हें देते हैं कि हम कर सकते हैं ये चीज।
हम ये बात को, भावना को भरते हैं उसमें कि देखो तुम्हें लड़ना है, समाज से कुछ अच्छा करना है, तो तुम्हारे पास एक एजुकेशन का ही हथियार है। इसी हथियार को उठाओ और धारा कर साई कर दो उन सामंतियों को जो तुम्हारे बाप दादा को पढ़ने से रोका है।
बिल्कुल। और हमने कुछ ऐसे लोगों से बात की जो आईआईटी में पढ़ चुके हैं और ये जानने की कोशिश की दरअसल आईआईटी एंट्रेंस कितना मुश्किल होता है। उधर देखिए।
आईआईटी किसी भी स्टूडेंट के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा गोल है, तो उसकी प्लानिंग और उसकी तैयारी बहुत पहले से शुरू कर देनी पड़ती है। और इनफैक्ट जो उसके स्कूलिंग के आखिरी के 2 जो साल हैं, मतलब 11th और 12th स्टैंडर्ड, उसमें स्टूडेंट पूरी तरीके से पढ़ाई उसी तरीके से करता है जो कि आईआईटी जॉइंट एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशन को लेकर टारगेटेड होती है।
आईआईटी का जॉइंट एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशन काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट माना जाता है। उसके 2-3 रीज़न है। एक तो है कि द एग्ज़ाम इटसेल्फ इज़ वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट, उसमें जो क्वेश्चन आते हैं उनका लेवल इन जनरल जो पढ़ाया जाता है स्कूलों में उससे हाई होता है। उसके अलावा जो और रीज़न हैं जो उसको डिफ़िकल्ट बनाते हैं वो ये हैं कि उसमें एक्सेप्टेंस रेशियो काफ़ी कम होता है। इस कारण से जो बिहार में सुपर 30 इनिशिएटिव है, ऐसे लोगों को जिनके पास बिल्कुल खाने के लिए पैसा नहीं है, कोई मीन्स नहीं है, उनको आईआईटी एग्ज़ाम क्लियर कराना काफ़ी बड़ी बात होती है। इसको आप एक चमत्कार ही कहेंगे।
ये कैसे लगा आपको कि इन बच्चों की जिंदगी आप बदल सकते हैं, ये ख्याल कैसे आया?
जब कैम्ब्रिज में नहीं जा सका, उसके बाद पिताजी भी हमारे चल बसे, तब हमने बच्चों को कुछ ट्यूशन पढ़ाना स्टार्ट किया। एक संस्था बनाई, रामानुजन स्कूल ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स। एक बार एक बच्चा आया बिहार शरीफ का और बोला कि सर हमारे पास एक भी पैसा देने के लिए नहीं है, क्या मैं पढ़ सकता हूँ? तब मैं पूछा कि जरूर, काहे नहीं पढ़ सकते हो? तो नहीं, मैं पैसा दूंगा, लेकिन उस समय, जिस समय हमारे पिताजी खेत से आलू उखाड़ेंगे, पैसा आएगा तो मैं पैसा दूंगा। ये बात हमारे दिल तक छू गई और उसी दिन मैंने ये सुपर 30 प्रोग्राम का डिजाइन किया, लगभग आज से 9 बरस पहले।
Manisha ma'am, I think we can close the video because
because
of course it's a long video. Thank you so much. Yes, this was Mr. Anand Kumar, who's this coaching institute Super 30 has been in fact taken up as a case study with CNN and like a lot of international schools as well. And he happens to be from our own country and specifically the kind of the humble family background that he comes from, and definitely he himself could not make it to Cambridge University. In fact, I believe there was a movie also made on his real story, and I've been privileged that I've met this superman in real life also. Now this was somewhere in relevance to those three H: head, heart, head, and heart. Where could you find a connect after listening to Mr. Anand Kumar, and what is it that we now feel that as teachers of this technologically dependent or technologically advanced generation, how we can actually now, bridge the gap and still feel them connected towards their learning process. हमें क्या, what were the takeaways from this video? Anything, थोड़ा सा भी जो हमें लगा. Your takeaways after listening to Mr. Anand Kumar. I hope the video was, we were able to watch the video. I mean, because there's pin drop silence, so I really don't get to understand कि हम connect हो पाए या नहीं हो पाए. Yes, Riddhi ma'am, हाँ जी.
Ma'am, from the video, I could, but it was a really motivating video, and I have also been watched the movie of Super 80.
Okay. Right, ma'am.
The
Right.
takeaway from that was that we learners can be from different background, from diverse learner, and we need to be sensitized and sensitive. We need to be sensitive about them, and
Yes.
we need to take care of their need and help them into their learning journey a lot.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you so much, Riddhi ma'am. That was remarkable, right? That we need to be first sensitive as teachers. I think that's, one primarily, key skill of every teacher. Yes, that we have to be sensitive, we have to be empathetic, right? And I think when I look up to these specifically, जो हमारे ITIs होते हैं, तो उसमें जो majority बच्चे आते हैं वो काफी humble backgrounds के भी आते हैं, राइट और उनकी अपनी एक हार्डशिप होती है, एक अपनी जर्नी ऑफ डिफरेंट डिफिकल्टीज होती हैं और उसमें इफ यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग देम टू बी बट हाँ hardships hain, difficulties hain, but then even a student coming from a village today has those equal aspirations, those equal what do you say, desires to match the pace of the very fast moving world of today, because they're all somewhere digitally connected to the global space, right, to the global आजकल तो that's what, it's a global village, right? So वही बात है कि जो उन aspirations के साथ आ रहा है लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं cope up नहीं कर पा रहा है, right, and then they do, as it is, they run short of people from whom they can seek that guidance, whom from they can seek that mentorship. तो वहां पर if we could help them in that way, again going back to what initially Dr. Haima and I'm forgetting Dr. Shobna told us, कि वही बात है कि बच्चों के पास इंफॉर्मेशन बहुत है लेकिन उनको यही नहीं डिफरेंशिएट करना पड़ता है कि कर पाते हैं कि yes, what is of their own value or what is that, how do they have to apply it, or where is it that they have to connect with it. There the role of a mentor or a real teacher comes into the play, where we have to be facilitators, we have to be motivators, and we have to really share our failures, right? फेलियर जो कि मैंने स्टार्ट ऑफ द सेशन में कहा था, इट एक्चुअली क्रिएट्स दैट ओपननेस, दैट एनवायरनमेंट ऑफ लाइक ease, where the students also feel connected कि okay, my teacher has also somewhere failed, or they've also had, they also run short of information, or sometimes they are also not that well equipped. So that's that ease level which is created, and simultaneously it even instills that sensitivity. We've all had our failures, we've all had our tough times. So if we are sensitive towards that, that similar phase through which are these young minds going through, I think we'll be definitely able to help them better and touch the chords, and then actually make the whole process of learning much more, not only entertaining but more impactful and actually long lasting also. So that's why, I mean, this is how we'll be able to actually get our students back into the real classrooms and help them find that real connect in that physical space, which does not happen in the digital space. So I think I can summarize it here from my end. Any questions, anything which was not clear, I'm really open to the questions.